So right now, Lumina would like to open this part of our service up for any of you to share what it was that allowed you to be your true creative self when you created something. What, where were you in consciousness? What allowed you to be in that perfect zone where you could bring forth something that was amazing? And let's meditate for about 3 minutes first while you're contemplating this. And then those here in Livingston and those on the broadcast, if you've created anything, you can share what it was that allowed you to be in that sacred space where you could draw that forth from the universe. So let's meditate now for 3 minutes. So who would like to share? Please raise your hand and be in front of a mic, and we'll get the camera on you, and then you can share. And Boyd can be ready to share anything from anyone on the broadcast. Christopher would like to go first.
I have a way of centering and meditation whereby I go into an orientation to the law of the one, and like the spirit on the cosmic clock from alpha to omega, which brings me to the understanding the law of the two in one, as above, so below, and the light of the infinite eternal as it ascends and descends into the plane of the material plane of the physical. And there's that co-creation then with the law of the one, the two in one, with like the Trinity, the thesis, antithesis, synthesis. And that's the co-creation process, the creative process where there's the throne of God, the three in one. You have the law of the one, the two in one, the three in one. And then the four in one is that city four square, the New Jerusalem, the pyramid of self and civilization. You have the four sides coming up to the capstone, which I identify as the creative ascent process, CAP, creative ascent process, where you're integrating the law of the one, two in one, three in one, four in one. And that fifth principle of the capstone, I think of as 5D consciousness. Anyway, it just takes me right there.
So you do meditate and go kind of into the silence.
Yeah.
That helps you. And contemplating that creative. Great. Thank you, Christopher. Okay, anybody else? Dean Anderson, go for it.
Thank you, David. Considering what it was like for me to work on some of the more notable pieces of music that I've written in my life and for this activity, in general, it required going beyond, reaching beyond my mental capacity or just my thoughts, my mundane thoughts. I had to reach beyond the mechanistics or mechanical aspect of that, and it helped to remember what it was like to be in a spiritual environment where I felt like I was in an inspired or overshadowed, overshined state, like during a dictation. And I remember what that felt like, that Buddhic ecstasy or state of exaltation where I felt perfection of balance, equanimity, peace, poise, where everything was totally okay. And I just, moved in that space or tried to maintain that focus at the apex, I guess, of my higher self. And was tried to reach for the highest ideas I could. And then they, sooner or later they'd come through. And I get an idea and I intuitively feel the value of the idea or the creative worth or the Holy Spirit inspiration behind it. I felt the Holy Spirit in as I identify with it, moving through that, or giving me that idea, or moving through it. And it was a process, of using those ideas and building on them and elaborating them. But there was always that sort of guiding presence, that guiding feeling, and it was like a feeling of love, really, of loving the highest ideal of what I aspire to create, and desiring that, and trying to conform to that highest ideal.
Wonderful, Dean. That's beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, anybody else here? Mona? What? You're smiling. Oh, okay.
Well, I could say something.
Okay. And then, Boyd, if you have any, well, after Mona, we'll. Okay.
I said I didn't want to. Okay. Thank you, Dean, because my thoughts were a lot like that. I feel like I can say less now. What came to mind right away is my thought processes and the purity, keeping my thoughts as pure as possible so I can move forward. And that is the place of the Holy Spirit. One thing that I've noticed is if I have a negative thought about something going on, a situation or whatever, I notice that my eyes are always down. So right away I look up and it goes away. And so it's looking always upward and forward and onward. And I thought about having children and women, carrying a child, the amount of thoughtful, caring, loving preparation that goes into that to be able to welcome another life onto earth. And I just think it's one of the most important things in the world is to bring children into the earth, to this classroom, this learning space, to be able to grow. And I just realized the amount of preparation that I did, and it's probably in thought, but it's also what you said, Dean, is bringing that love into your life and being with it and keeping your eyes upward and forward. And that's what really motivates me. And right now, I'm birthing a building, a cordwood tool shed on our property. And there's days where I think, oh no, not another day. And I start noticing my thoughts, and then when I raise them up and look up, it's just like, well, this is just an amazing process and opportunity, and it's working with mortar, and it's a type of building that is free-forming and flowing, and something that women can do, and children could do, anyone could do. So again, it's that same process of that upward and forward motion. And so I'm just finding that I really desire to stay determined and to keep my sight upward so I can function and do more of what I choose to do in life. So that's it.
Thank you, Mona. Awesome, as always. Okay, Boyd, any online sharings?
Yeah.
Okay.
Should I do mine first or them?
Them. And
Okay.
then
Robert Bonacker says, this morning I've been getting great light and support from the masters. They've been offering me many infusions of light. I caught myself taking some and questioning some, they inspired upon me that I joyously should accept every upgrade offered, as this is an opportunity to accept and to co-create with God.
Thank you, Robert.
And
We are so happy you moved next door to Kathleen and Robert.
yeah,
You made our day, our year, and our decade.
yeah.
I hope you guys are just enjoying life there. So, you're just, to have two sets of families living next to each other. Oh man, that's awesome. Okay, go ahead.
Another offering is from Albana. She said, I said, let's create a universe of love, unquote. And that night, Shiva showed me the cosmic egg. Inspecting its composition and inner design and color patterns was fun. A rosary of Elohim would be a nice addition to the prayer book.
Ooh, okay. Maybe you'll help create it. Thanks, Albana.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, my own process of creation, I facilitate the creation of a lot of things, and usually there's a number of them, and they kind of overlap and things like that. So, my first step is to, if I'm considering, if I see a vision of something that, hey, this new creation could happen, I gaze into this space where I can mind meld with my higher self, and I first check to see if I should do this right now, and I get either confirmation or not, because I may not have enough either physical time or energy or attention bandwidth, you might say, relative to all the other things I'm doing. So I want to be smart about that. And if it's yes, great. Then I stay in that space and I ask, not through words, but I telepathically, okay, show me the first step clearly, and the second step, and the third step. And I do that because, a lot of times if we think like, oh, I'll write a book, we'll immediately jump into just doing the part of a project that we like to do, and that's maybe even easiest. But the first step that I'm often shown is some preparation or something that's very important. If I'm disciplined and I really tune into that first step, and then the second step, and the third step, and I stay on that, what happens is I get this momentum, and at a certain point I feel like maybe about the second or third step, I feel this amazing energy and overshining, like a lot of other people have said, and it's kind of like full hot. You go do, and it just happens. And so that's my process. And make sure you do all the steps. I make sure I do all the steps and dot all the I's and cross the T's.
Great, Boyd. Thank you. Wow. We're getting
There's more
great
in the-
teaching. Okay,
There's
go
more
ahead.
go ahead. In here too. So Philip says, here, I have been meditating about how to build our property and what ideas that I should follow, which is the same system I use when working on people's computers that will benefit the community with the spirit of love. I am always looking up for meditations, and there are times that I see great light on ideas, particular ideas. Lisa Delaney says, recently I was starting a video for a song to a particular master. I listened to a heart stream by the master and then meditated in silence, asking the master what he desired to have in the song. I started the project, and as I worked, impressions came into my mind very easily, and I accepted each image without question and tried to incorporate them into the video to the best of my ability. The warning is to be aware of the mental mind, which can criticize or try to correct, so that remembering the original impression is important. Awesome. I like that, Lisa.
Thank you, Phil and Lisa. Great.
Yep. Got one from Alice. My creation is my family. At first, I did not realize this was what I was doing, and now it's more clear. Now I do it consciously, like a mother hen gathering her chicks. I know that this care of family blesses each one. It requires more and more love.
Well, honor what both Mona and you have said about family, because I think that especially for women, and for all couples, yet especially the women, it's probably your most creative work in a lifetime is bringing forth beautiful children. And Jenny has 2 sons. Nancy has a son and a daughter with Boyd. Boyd has a daughter from a previous relationship. Christopher has, 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. Mona has a boy and a girl. Cindy has 1 son. And Stephen has a son. And Dean has created many, many solar beings through his music. So that's just here in this audience. And of course, I have 3 children. So all of you who have had children, you're co-creators. And, we know about the co-creative act that created them. And when you're conscious of what's going on, it becomes amazing. And then the process continues because you're still kind of creating that child as you're raising it, right? I mean, the creative process isn't done just by conception or the actual birth process. It's ongoing by what you're nurturing the child with understanding, breastfeeding the children if you're the woman, and everything that goes into raising that child. That's creating the person. And the more conscious you are, the better education they get, the better nurturing along the way. You have a beautiful product, which is an amazing human being who is a divine being. So God's part of that whole process. And like Mona said, I know how much she put into preparing for her children when they were especially in utero. And, all the study that you did, and you've told me about that. And other women have too. You study everything you can about childhood development, etc. And there's a lot that we don't know yet. What you can't, I believe that intuitively mothers know what to do. And it's part of their intuition. The way you were created as a mother being, you know how to nurture your child. It's just right there inside of you. And so you just follow those divine impulses and then you obey them, right? And sometimes you learn as you're going through it, but it's awesome. So are there any more, Boyd? Okay, 2 more.
Yeah, David Kyle, who is a very creative chap. He says, music lifts and clears my mind and heart to see.
Thank you, David. That was pretty short and sweet.
Yep. Richard Lorenz, who also creates a lot. When I write poetry, it begins with an idea that comes to mind, an inspiration. There's a feeling of a story, a teaching, a direction. I have to get in a meditative mode, opening my mind to allow the story to develop on its own. Finally, I have to find the right rhyming words to express that concept.
Well, Richard, I think you're a master of the limerick. The Loving Limerick by Lorenz. Lorenz's Loving Limericks of Light. Yeah, you're a master at it. It's amazing. And we love your book, and hopefully more people will buy your book. What's it called? Glimericks, right? We sell it in our store. If you'd like to be inspired by our president, Richard Lorenz's limericks, they're called Glimericks, and it's in our store. I think it's a green cover. Okay, is that it then? So for now.